the news from our perspective.
Hi, and welcome to F the News, the social current affairs podcast, looking into all things female and empowering women everywhere. I'm your host, Liyanne Marie. I'm excited for today. We've got some incredible guests, as we always do. But before we meet our guests, let's lift some headlights. Cassie Ventura testifies against Sean Diddy claims in federal trial. And the New South Wales Parliament in Australia has passed the Abortion Law Reform Amendment Bill 2025, allowing nurse practitioners and midwives to prescribe the abortion pills. Manahel Al-Ataibi sentenced to 11 years in Saudi Arabia. And Sonia Bonfaster applauds $20 million investment in Chelsea Women's Football Club. And a European court rules against France in a marital sexual assault case. And Maran Baloch arrested during protests in Pakistan. A Pakistani human rights activist, Maran, was arrested during a protest against enforced disappearance in Balochistan. Her detention has raised concerns about suppression of released voices and activism in the region. And women's sports fandom is experiencing her remarkable research, driving a new niche in travel tourism. And Harriet Harman is appointed as the UK Special Envoy for Women and Girls. And lastly, UK female artists lead protests against AI copyright proposals. Prominent UK female musicians, including Dua Lipa, Kate Bush, and Annie Lennox, have joined over 400 parties in urging the UK government to reconsider proposed changes to copyright laws that would allow AI companies to use copyrighted material without explicit permission. That's our headlines for you instead. Great start. Now, I just want to introduce you to our first guest today. But before I do want to give a little warning. Just as we may be covering some sensitive topics today, and this may be triggering from some of you, so we just want to give that warning. Our next guest is a sexual abuse survivor, and she has joined us today to share her story. She's had her own healing practice after training in the modern energy modules, such as Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT, with Sylvia Hartman and the Guild of Energists, as well as sparkled success in a child rescue with Susan Kennard, and this is just to name two. She's also used these practices along with the tarot to overcome her own trauma, such as domestic and childhood sexual abuse, and now works helping other people to do the same and learn how to tap into the inner healing and empower you to shine and love unconditionally no matter what situation you have. She is a truly gifted soul, a powerful psychic, an intuitive therapist, and a tarot reader who's been connected to the other side since childhood. Opening cards that she was about 8 years old, Jennifer has always been seen beyond the veil of everyday reality, guided by loving energies that first appeared as imaginary friends during these times of crisis. Through her profound connection to source, that divine, unconditional love energy, she reads not just the cards, but the very essence of your being. She maps the path that your soul is creating. So whether you're facing crossroads, healing from old wounds, or simply seeking clarity, I think our guest that we have today is going to show you how about being non-judgmental, loving, and just being a real sat-nav for your soul is going to hopefully gently guide your past heart walls and align you into your truths. I'm really excited to welcome our first guest, Jennifer. Ahmed, take a seat so much. Please get comfy, relax. We're on the sofa so we can just have a good old chat. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. This is exciting, isn't it?
We love it when you're excited, because we get excited to have the guests. So you're here. So there's a lot in that. So we've got to go way back. Just get her, Jennifer. So reading some of that, you started, we're going to understand, tarot reading, cards, healing, all of this, because some people will not know. Some people will and some people won't. But you started to do this from a very, very young age, didn't you?
Yeah.
Take us back to that and kind of like, what was that moment? How did it all start?
So I used to have imaginary friends making mud pies in the garden when I was young.
Wow.
And then my auntie had tarot cards when I was about 8. So she used to do the tarot and I started learning with her. And so I've always had really strong intuition, always had this moral compass within inside of me that would take me on different journeys in my life that I've always believed to be God, that I would call the divine creator energy. And I think through all of my challenges, it's been that belief that there's something that's every problem's got an answer, everything for a reason. And it doesn't matter what we go through, as long as we stay positive, true to ourselves, and always have honest conversations with ourselves, that we can overcome it and become our best selves.
Oh, I love that. So auntie is obviously, teaching you these tarot cards. Did you have at that young age, did you kind of know what this was based on?
Like with tarot, it's more about what you see on the card, that's the guidance.
Okay.
So our sixth sense is really our emotions.
Okay.
And in society, we're taught to suppress those emotions. Essentially, you take medication to suppress those emotions. And when really we need to be tapping into those and really listening to them.
Yeah.
Because that's our sixth sense. All of us have it. So, yeah.
Wow. So you mentioned your imaginary friends. So how did you, do you recognize them as kind of what, spiritual guides or something else?
I think when I was young, they were just people that were talking to me and guiding me and helping me see things, like in the adults that were around me.
Yeah.
I think my mum was quite, I don't want to put her down like she's my mum.
Yeah.
And we don't have a relationship, but she was in her own trauma with what was going on in her world, and she wasn't able to connect with me. And I just seemed to have this, I don't know, I can't even put it into words. I just always had this loving guidance, but
From a spirit around you. Yeah. From that beginning, from that young. Yeah. I mean, the imaginary friend side, it's actually, my sister growing up had an imaginary friend. Wow. And I suppose you explained like that. We all just thought she's just bringing her imaginary friend here. It literally was. We had to keep the door open. We had to maybe put on the switch. It was very, very, for her, somebody that was actually there. Yeah. But not somebody that we could see. And so probably a lot of people have that.
yeah, they did.
Yeah. Actually, so it's kind of just tapping into understanding
And have an appreciation for what it is.
Yeah. So you've mentioned you've gone through some quite traumatic things in life. I think that's we all experience a lot of trauma. And how have you kind of navigated getting through some of the trauma?
Navigated it. I think it's my survival. It's survival and all my dear life. But I just feel like I've always had this thing inside of me that everything happens for a reason and every problem has an answer. And that answer will show up sooner or later. So whether we come to the tarot to get an answer, to have a look at a bigger perspective, or even if we go to church or pick up a Bible and open up a page and the right words are just there. Even a magazine. I was driving here today and it was like the billboard had new beginnings all over, and I was just like, oh my God, I got chilled.
It's for chill, or see, they say that, don't they? There's a lot of signs out there for us in our day-to-day life, and we can sometimes just ignore that. Yeah, we're not opening ourselves boots. So, yeah, absolutely. And growing up, so because you now found this real, intuitive gift. It's a gift, right? So it wasn't just your imagination. You found a gift. How did people react with you of having this gift? But if you feel around you, how did they receive this?
My mum didn't understand it, and she would tease me at times.
Oh no.
So there was a time when I did cut it off when I was younger because she teased me that much.
No way.
That was just like, yeah. And I had a temper tantrum.
Right.
And then I got a clip around the head, as you do. Yeah, for having a temper tantrum, yeah, as we did back in the 80s. Got a slap. And I was sent to bed, and then I went to bed and I was just like,
I don't want to talk to you anymore. Oh, rush around. Yeah. Do you think that was because she couldn't see what's down here, so doesn't understand? She still doesn't understand it now. Yeah, and I think there's still a lot of people don't understand this. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very skeptical, very in what you do. People take the mick all the time, Demille. Yeah. Do you get that kind of negative response?
I haven't personally, but I've seen it quite recently online. Like a girl had shared it on our local area group, and people were just really, really vulnerable. And I was just, there's no real need for that. Like, this is their set of beliefs, and she's trying to get out there and be proactive and helping people.
Of course. Now you're using, for the experience that you've gone through, some traumatic things you've gone through, but you're really using this to help other people. What are the things that you are really wanting to do to help others?
So I'm looking into, so last week I made the decision I wanted to start my own podcast. I mean, and that's a big thing. Huge. Like, we'll put you amazing. Like,
Had they look at Jennifer now? She's here as a guest. I went on the podcast a week later. Literally a week later, yeah. So we can support you with that, Jennifer, right? I love you. Could it would be your guest? Oh, I thought that was sorry. And so for those who might not fully understand, right? And I might need to be understanding this as well. There's a little bit of a difference between a psychic reading and a tarot reading. Is that right?
Okay, so tarot is a divination tool, yeah, and it's not really used to psychically predict things, although it can show you. It's about reading your energy that's presenting now, yeah. So then people have got the information that they need to make informed decisions or look at other perspectives that they might not have seen. Although it can be used to predict the future, I didn't really work like that. It's not about that. It's about looking at the energy that's showing up for you, which is obviously your emotions and how you feel and how you're interacting with the people around you. And my job is to interpret the energy and to help deliver a message that you walk away.
Right, okay. And I mean, for some people, this is something that they use quite regular, I think, through life to keep them, guided.
For accountability, yes. But some people can go to the extreme where they need it all the time and they just want to keep coming back. So keep coming back.
Right.
And that's not really recommended. Like, you have to really learn to trust your own intuition and make those informed choices for yourself, and then maybe have an update.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months max.
So that's what I was going to say. Out of interest, what would you normally advise? So 6 months to a year. Yeah. So may not be over rely on. And if you need it, if you don't, you leave it longer.
And maybe it's just that you get guided along the way. Like, I'd come today and he said, oh, I've been thinking about getting a reading, and then she's done it.
I am lying today. Very shortly, she's going to brief boys. I mean, there's a little bit of nervousness, but we're aware of that. Can you then, before we get out the wonderful cards, can you describe the cards a little bit? Like, as you said, they're a bit of a visual tool, and you mentioned a little bit about the energy reading. If somebody doesn't know, so to say somebody's watching us and they're thinking, I always wanted to do that. Yeah, what are they?
So we got different types of cards. So you have tarot cards, which it is an ancient thing, really. It's like hundreds of years old, that come from Italy, although some people say France, and then other people say no, it stems from the Egyptians. So
okay.
But that has 22 major arcanas, so that's the fool's journey as you go through life. We go through different how should you say it, different events.
If that's just a nice way to do it.
And each card will represent that life event. So, say the death card, the worst one that everyone's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But the death isn't like a horrible thing. It means that there's a transition that's about to take place. And with every ending, there's a new beginning. So, you know, new beginnings for me now. I'm going through the death phase, in my life, saying goodbye to the old Jen. And now I'm stepping into the new Jen, birthing the new Jen. I am. She's here, really nice.
So, I mean, I want us to do, I think before we carry on the water question, I'm going to get to do my cards in a minute. But before we do, can you just walk through a little bit of about what a session would kind of look like? Obviously, you can't earn like all full detail, but the session, like from start to finish, if I'm coming to see Jennifer, what does that kind of session look like and feel?
So how that would look is you'd come, I'd introduce you, welcome you to my home. And then I'd get you to shuffle the cards. I don't want any information. I'd just get you to shuffle the cards and then I'll lay the tarot out. The cards that I brought today, though, are tarot and oracle, but I'm going to get you to choose those cards.
Okay, so shall we go for this?
Yeah, just do it.
Let's just do it now because we're thinking about them and then we'll carry on. Okay? I feel like it's the right time. The right time. Is it right time? I feel it. Yeah, but fine. So, do we need space? Do we need the table?
Nah, do you know what? I think we'll just, this is my old bag. I've had this for like so many years.
Yeah.
So, okay, just draw as many cards as you feel. So just connect with your heart. Okay. And if there's anything that you feel like you would like to know about, or in particular, or if it's just a general, like what does the universe want you to know? What does God want you to know? Then just choose the cards with your left hand. Yeah. And you could take as many as you.
As I want. Do I just hand them to you?
Yeah.
I don't look at them.
Right, again, is. Oh.
Hand here. I like I need to kick up down.
Wow.
Oh, she's wearing.
What's that?
Gemini.
Love this.
Can I do more? Is that it?
It's up to you.
She says one more. That's me.
Your boat is coming in. Whoop. And bask in joy and sunlight. So I love this. And we got the honeybee. Like is sweet. Life is. So we have biblical. So this is like where you're at on your life's journey. You really are being guided and you are trusting yourself. And you should be really proud of yourself. Oh, be super proud of yourself. I'm not allowed to get emotional then, is that sure? Yeah, what's your what? And then we've got the Queen of Swords. So in the tarot, so she would be a Gemini.
How do you know it?
Yes, right. So the Queen of Swords is an air sign. So that would be a Gemini, an Aquarius, or, oh my God, Libra.
Yeah.
So this is all about you. You are well and truly on the right path. It's time to release the negativity because you really are on the right thing, right track. Attraction, you attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So if you are trying to attract someone very special into your life, just being you and radiating your light and living as you are right now, yeah, you naturally draw it to you. It's really powerful. Love it. There's your ship. Your ship's coming in. So whatever it is that you're praying for, it's happening. But you have to let the old go. Just like Jen is.
Can I say, guys, there's like so many cards in here.
Look.
So many cards. So just to know, I can after receiving that, I can see why people do go to kind of have a little bit of that guidance because you're right. Some of the things you said to me, it's where on hand. So, wow, that was live, guys. Can you believe? See, look at the poundies. Oh, new love. She said I've got me that. Wow, we don't air personal stuff on here for Liyanne, but So, thank you, Jennifer. What an amazing experience for me. Now, so you talk about reading the energy, connected to source, and also someone's higher self. Tell me what that feels like for you. Do you feel that for someone?
God, so it's a physical thing for me. So I'll get the chills. This usually in my legs and down my arms. When I get it down the legs, that's when I'm like, you're on the right path. When it comes down the arms, it's because I really needed to hear that. So when I was reading that, I could feel it down my arms because you really need a hug and just know you're doing amazing. Baby, thank you. I'm very proud of yourself. Proud of us.
Oh, that's so lovely. That's a business. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna just take over this whole session now, but do you no, you just sat here with me, but do you ever receive messages like before someone even sits down with you?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, like sometimes I'll have like their loved ones come and speak to me and tell me that they're gummit.
Yeah. So then do you obviously then when you see them, do you tell them that?
Yeah, I have to, yeah, because they won't leave me alone.
They'll be there.
I'm not like a massive mediumship I can do, obviously, because I've had imaginary friends, but I don't know, like, it just doesn't excite me like it does some people, hey. But, like, when I have to deliver a message, like, it is full on. They will keep me up, yeah. They will wake me up. They will say, there was a girl, shall I share a little story? So there was a girl that I got a message. We're in like tarot, yeah, that I was doing tarot reading for. And I was like, who's I don't know if I should say it. I don't know. But her name had a double A in it, which was really rare. And I was like, who is that? And she was like, oh, she's in my friendship circle. I was like, she needs help. So she reached out and told her friends what I'd said specifically. And she was like, oh my God, I need to reach out. And before she reached out, I was up all night, like rocking something in my arms, saying, don't worry, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. I'm coming. God's telling me I'm going to help you. And then she contacted me the next day and she said she literally felt like she was in my arms. She was going to call me at that time of night, but she felt it was inappropriate. Gosh. And that hurts. And now she's flying. Is she? I look, get beach shoes.
Oh my God. So, and what, I mean, it's just kind of maybe answer this, like what kind of information do you typically get to make you receive? So you must get just a hard.
Don't really get bad stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like, some people that do readings are quite negative. And if I have a less than positive, like, delivery that I have to give, I always try and give it with the positive spin, like, if you do this, then you can change the direction of this. We're gonna die tomorrow.
There's a way to deliver a delivery.
You can't put yourself eyes.
And how can someone, really strengthen connecting with their hearts? Because I think maybe people might struggle with that at times, right? Or you might get some people that maybe come to you and go, I don't believe in any of this. Like, this is not for me.
How can you get everybody us to me or say I was drawn? Yeah, so it would be, you need to find a tarot reader and they'll go online and then they'll find me somehow, or they'll see something that I've shared on social media.
Because you've done some tarot readings for some really high profile. Could you really share a couple with us?
So I had a room on Eastbourne Pier for a couple of years, and I had quite a famous film producer, come, and I had to help him remove some black magic that had been manipulating his energy. Yeah, so he was the producer on Star Wars leading on to the Harry Potter as well.
And touch up on the black magic. What is that?
It's energy manipulation. Well, so it's when people have an intention towards you and some people could have a stronger ability than others, I would say, because their intention is very, very strong. So it can block creative energy from happening, and that's what this guy was going through. He just couldn't.
And what made him think like I'm going through that? Was it just things that were happening to it?
So many things, the family have fallen apart. There was all sorts of things. Because his health.
Yeah, because some people may like resonate. They could be listening going, everything at the moment in my life it's just going wrong. It's going from bad to worse. Everything I'm doing is not working, or it's not happening, or it's it's having a bad effect.
Could I just say as well, like magic, so like people talk about manifest it, yeah? So the manifesting thing, so you are using magic to manifest because you're setting an intention. What the magic is how it actually happens, yes? So like now, today, how I'm here, like I put it out to the universe, right, I want to do a podcast, and then here I am a week later. This is magical.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So I tapped into something and it's happened, but it can be used on a negative against somebody. So as much as it's negative, it can be used positively. So we had to be mindful, of intention behind people.
And I mean the intention from somebody in a negative way,
There will always be a backlash, right? What you send out, you get back 3 times more, right? Yeah, it's in God's hands at the end of the day. So if you put a death wish onto somebody, for instance, and you don't know who they are spiritually, that could just rebound straight back off, and it'll do that.
It's not cool. What?
Remove
that from us, please. Absolutely. And you know what? It's interesting because after our podcast that we had last week, myself and the other girls, we were talking about the manifestation. And when you go to somewhere, or you really, we use some examples of like you going to an area that you really want to live, or a house that you really want to live in. And you really, like, you visit that place numerous times, and then you get it. Yeah, the magic of like,
I've done that. Yeah. So there's so I was living in, for instance, Gloucester.
Yeah.
In quite a bad area, but I wanted to move to Hastings. Yeah, with my ex-partner. I seen a house that I really, really wanted, and he was like, "That's the house that I want." I said, "I'm going to make it happen." And then so the girl was like, "Okay, you want my house? I'm going to find the house that I want."
Yeah.
And then we'll take it from there. So in the end, I moved from Gloucester to Hastings. Hastings moved to Daventry. Daventry moved to Cheltenham.
Is this all the chain?
Yeah. And then Cheltenham was the first lady that I ever spoke to. Yeah. She was the last person in the chain.
No.
And so we all moved.
All moved in that chain?
All over the country, and we done it all in 6 months.
Wow.
And at one point as well, because I just surrendered and I knew that house was going to be mine, my son was in hospital with a really rare blood disorder, and I couldn't even look. And just as I was ready to come back, she was like, "Oh, do you know someone from Cheltenham that wants your house?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then it just happened. So trust and surrender is the most powerful thing when it comes to manifesting.
Trust and surrender. If you need to really listen to that. Beautiful. So you're also a therapist, right? So how does the spiritual work kind of intersect with that?
When we look at the neuroscience behind dis-ease within the body and in the psyche, there is always so when we look at quantum physics, we're talking about frequency and waves rather than normal physics, which is matter. So when we look at frequency and waves, which is what energy is, that's how we can tap in. So when we go through trauma, it'll impact our heart, yeah? We'll go through the shock moment where we're like, "Oh my God, that's just happened." and then it will trigger a certain part of the brain.
Right.
And then that will show up as a message within the body and or in the environment around us. Yeah. So when we go through life and we're bouncing down the road, with just balls of energy, like that with energy upload, frequency is going out all the time, and we're like magnets drawing it to us. The law of attraction is coming at us. Yeah. So there's always messages. So if there's anything negative that's showing up in our environment, that's where like the universe is saying, this is your path of growth. This is what needs attention. So when we track back the chalk up, back to that moment, and when we heal that, usually it's with the inner child.
Yes.
Yeah. And then once we meet the inner child's needs, and then we reintegrate the inner child, then the lesson is learned and it won't show up in your environment anymore.
Yeah, do you know what? Because I did find all of that like so fascinating. And, you know, we don't always realise, do we, what we're taking forward from our paths. And that's in like everyday life or relationships or motherhood or whatever it may be. So do you think people should be a little bit more open sometimes into going back?
Absolutely.
And
it's some of the childhood me. It was because I've been through so much trauma, like from a child up until I was in my 20s. When I ended up in refuge and I was thinking, I was there like, oh my God, I can't believe that my life has amounted to this. I knew that generational cycle had to stop, and it had to stop with me, and I had to put my children first. And I didn't want them to have a mother that wasn't there and didn't show up for them. So I had to show up for myself.
yeah, and we've got to do that first, don't we? Before there's no anyone else.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't can there's no then blockages or barriers or why we're not showing up because we haven't done the
Absolute
past. So you help people with this now, don't you? And what are the real heart rules, would you say, to help people begin to release some of this?
So I have techniques that I've learned with Susan Kennard where we tune in. So, for instance, say I had an emotion that I could have pinpointed. So I would think like I'm feeling angry, for instance. So I would ask, where do you feel that? So in my session, I would say, where do you feel that in your body? And say it was in my feet. Yeah. And then I'd say, could you assign a colour to that? Yeah. And they said it was red. Then I would know that they felt ungrounded and insecure. And then we can tune in a little bit deeper. And I would say, is there a number in the middle of that? So when we go in deeper, they might say it's 5. So the anger was first felt when they were 5 years old. And then we meet the needs of the inner child. And as we do that, as we will witness the wall, that they're stood in front, blocking them from releasing it. As we meet the child's needs, the wall will just naturally vanish. And then the heart wall's gone. It is phenomenal work.
You must have like experienced some incredible,
Phenomenal. Oh yeah, buzzes now, like all now. I absolutely love
because you're like helping people heal and change them and like
becoming empowered again, especially like through childhood sexual abuse is massive. And when you take your power back and then you see them like really thriving and attracting beautiful like relationships and their children are happier.
Yeah. Because they fail to relationships all the way over, cause toxic relationships, damage relationships.
So you leave ourselves.
Yeah.
One's perfect.
That one's perfect. No, absolutely not. And what's would you say, I mean, you've probably worked with so many people, what's the most surprising or powerful message you've ever received during a reading?
Gosh. I mean, do you remember if every single one is?
Really?
I find it hard to remember because, like, I'm channeling constantly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Or is there maybe someone that just really always stands out? Yeah. Or something that you completely change their life with it? kind of either coming to you or no?
It's everybody.
Yeah.
I know, like,
But that's
I've
beautiful.
always had 100%, like, yeah, I don't touch wood. Yeah, I said, I always had 100% success with people. And whether I've just touched their lives just for a moment. You know, like, the first client I ever had when I had my first practice she was a daughter of a Premiership footballer. And now, like, just because I touched her life just briefly, just that little bit, and now and she was a teenager, and now she's like flying. She's just gone on to you more and more, and I just feel there's so many. There's just too many.
But that's what makes you so special as well, Jennifer, because it's every single person, and I love to hear that. So, I mean, listening to you, you're giving out so much to everyone else. Yeah. How does Jennifer protect and recharge her own energy? How do you do that?
So I've actually had a year off because my daughter went through something, like her health's been really bad. I said she became a victim of abuse herself. So I had to take a year off. So sometimes you just have to shut up shop and do you. And the people that love you will understand, and they will support you no matter what. And if they don't, if they have something to say and judge, then they're not your kind of people. Yeah. But go into the woods. The last in a tree.
Oh, do you know I actually did that the other day for the first time? Don't be serious. I love it. I thought there's this thing about tree hugging, but it does give you a different energy. And just being in nature, it really is good for your soul. So yeah, because you just roll and you're hugging the tree.
Have you seen Victoria, also named Victoria Ames?
No. What, stone around mommy trees?
Well, some on a video where she was like, I don't know what I can say because it's quite rude, but she was just like, have you ever put your everyone in the marriage?
Go find a video. It's so bio, Jennifer. Like, what do you mean? I've waited at home, then you get like, there's a fucking on a cold desert devil.
I need to watch that after this. Poor trees. Oh, poor trees.
You got
Tree abuse.
Yeah, tree abuse. My gosh.
And are there any signs? I mean, you've picked up on this a little bit because you probably get signs yourself. But are there any signs sometimes? Maybe if you meet some people, and you go, they're ready for a reading, or they're ready for their cards to be read. Do you have little signs like that? You meet people.
I think once people know, they know, yeah, then they'll be like, oh my God, I need it done, or they'll just back off, right away off, and don't want anything to do. Like, they're just so scared.
I think I want to touch on that a little bit because I know even like culturally as well, some people are not open to this, that spiritual world is not to be kind of, I mean, they say, yeah, you know, I've had it, you know, in my family and stuff before. And as I told you, I've only had my contract once before, and that's that. But there is that kind of real, I don't know if it's a fear thing, but it is very, very like, don't touch that spiritual world. Don't open, you know.
I think once you've opened it, it's hard to shut.
Right.
Yeah. And people do fear it. It isn't like people like within the Christian world say, no, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't do it. I only connect to God, and that is it. Yeah, so I was guided by God, yeah, to buy a pack of tarot cards to help me get out of my situation, and it's completely changed my life. Yeah, I think if you're getting a reading, you need to know what somebody's intentions are, yeah, and who is that person, and you're getting a reading from. Are they going to interject themselves and their own fears into it, or are they skilled enough to channel, deliver?
I think that's such good advice for people to hear, actually. And if someone is skeptical and curious, like what we've just spoken about, how do you kind of recommend that they approach a session with quite an open mind? Like, yeah, because they might be, you know, they go, actually, I'm going to make that step. I'm going to come Jennifer, I'm really skeptical. How do you advise, like, to keep it?
I would just keep, it's not just an open mind, you have to have an open heart. Yeah, because if your heart is shut down, you're not going to get anything anyway, and you're just going to meet that. Yeah, that's your belief, so you're not going to get it. But if you'll come in and you'll choose it to have a reading, then go with an open heart and just trust that you're going to get the messages that you need.
Yeah.
And then if it's not what you expected, then yeah, well, you haven't really lost anything.
Do you think people come with like real high hope that there's like, I want all the answers?
Some people do, yeah, and some people don't get what they want, but they get what they need.
Yes. And what's one message or reminder that you wish everyone could hear right now?
That love is the answer.
Love is the answer. How beautiful, Jennifer. As well, what I want to ask you as well, because before we have a live audience, so we always get a live audience as well to ask you a couple of questions. I'll get some money and we'll do that. But you've spoken about this podcast as well. What moving forward for Jennifer? Who is Jennifer and what is she doing?
So Jennifer has decided that she wants to help more people, but on a bigger scale. And I've asked God to help maneuver me in that way to be able to deliver that. And that is getting a wider audience like today, with you guys. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. It's unreal.
And how can people, we'll put all the stuff on here as well, but are you very welcome to people just wanting to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's because they're not feeling great and they need some advice, and just reach out, because we all need somebody. I can't be there 24/7, but yeah, sometimes it's just an outside perspective. But I do, if you're needing a bit more in-depth, then reach out for a reader.
What I will say as well, thank you, Jennifer, for being a beautiful soul, adult, or sharing your gift, because, a lot of people may have the gift but not know what to do with it, maybe not share it and not want to help others. So I think what you're doing is so beautiful and so powerful. And I'm sure our lovely, I'm sure our SNEQ, you'll be in touch as well. Get you help many others as well. And I can't thank you enough as well for reading my cards today. You lifted me in an inner way that I needed to hear that myself.
For everyone's smile.
And so let's ask our Liyanne teachers, a couple of questions, because I can't always cover every single question, but they can. They're amazing. What's our question?
Okay, so we've got one here. What was the hardest reading you've ever had to give?
Oh, the hardest. There was one lady when I was at the pier, and I was giving her the message. She didn't want to receive it. So then I took some oracle cards and read it for her, and she didn't like it. And she was like, I could have done this effing reading myself at home. And then she came out and proceeded to tell the girl that was outside waiting to come in that I was awful and not worth the money, and it was my daughter.
Well, that leads me on to my next question. I'll let you finish, but that was,
No way.
So the next question is, do any of your children have any of your abilities?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they're amazing. Yes, they have. Especially my kids are incredible. I shout out to born barbers and Eastbourne, by the way. That's my oldest son, Kurt. Kurt's my barber. Shout out. Wow. Oh, I've got another one.
For your children, do they ever project onto you or tell you something that you haven't seen for yourself?
What about myself? All the time. I love my kids keeping me accountable. I have to have that. We all do. And they love you.
Yeah.
Is that using their gift or
All of it.
all of it?
All of it. That's it.
And you're at F the News, as you know, so we always like to ask, what's your favourite F word?
Am I allowed to say it? F music.
Jennifer, you have been incredible. What a wonderful guest. I've learned so much from you, and just hearing your story as well, and what strength you've got, what resilience you've got, and how you've used your gift to just elevate you in a different way, help others, help yourself. I think it's really, really beautiful and powerful, and I can't thank you enough for you and amazing schedule you are.
Thanks. Setting the high bar.
Thank you.
How else did I do?
She's the host of our own podcast.
Jeez. I want to thank Jennifer so much for bringing us into her spiritual amazing well, and so you're very welcoming us with that, and for reading my card. So I hope you guys found that interesting. We are just going to have a quick little break, guys, but please stay with us, who is ever live on TikTok, because we have an incredible second guest. Welcome back. Thank you so much for bearing with us. So I am excited to introduce you to our second guest. She is a passionate and purpose-driven barrister whose journey to the bar is marked by bold transitions, unwavering determination, and a lifelong commitment to justice. Originally from North America, her fascination with the legal system was sparked during childhood by the O.J. Simpson trial, an event that left a profound impression on her. Even as a young girl, she mimicked lots of the courtroom arguments, which I think we all did, famously declaring, "If the glove don't fit, you must acquit." Long before even understanding the gravity of pronunciation of acquit. She began her professional journey at the age of 16 as a receptionist at one of Canada's large real estate firms. And by 19, her drive led her to complete the real estate course. Typically a 2-year program, but just in 9 months, earning her license and launching a successful decade-long career in real estate. From 2018 to 2020, she pivoted into the music industry, managing artists and navigating creative landscapes with the same tenacity and leadership that defined her real estate career. However, the tragic killing of George Floyd and a global reckoning that followed deeply affected her. The outcry for justice and the visible struggles of those unable to articulate their rights ignited something deeply in her and her calling to law. In 2020, she made the life-altering decision to sell her home, leave behind her thriving career and loved ones, and moved here to London, where she pursued her childhood dream of becoming a barrister. Her North American roots and experiences imbue her with a unique perspective and a fierce sense of purpose. Today, she is proudly called to the bar and is committed to advocating for the disenfranchised, the abused, and the vulnerable. Her diverse background, including years of volunteer work and a career built on strong interpersonal and negotiation skills, empowers her to be such an empathetic yet formidable advocate. I am so excited to introduce you to our next guest, who's not only a legal mind, but a compassionate heart for courtroom, and she's determined to be a force for positive change, using her voice to champion justice, equality, and the rights of individuals. Please let me welcome the incredible Stephanie Lowell.
Words in hip comfy, get where you are, like, ooh, that was a lot.
Right, I was listening to you read that about me. I'm like,
Is that me? Like, that's like Stephanie. Wow, it's crazy. This is a journey. Yeah, this is a journey. As we always like to go back. So tell us, let's go back to Stephanie, the young girl. It all happened. You were the O.J. Simpson trial, George, everything. Tell us about Stephanie.
Yeah, so it's funny. So my parents always like to say that I've been saying I wanted to be a lawyer since I was like 2 or 3 years old. And that's kind of telling my age, but we're at the age where you don't ask my age anymore, so you just guess it. But yeah, I'd be so obsessed, and everyone was obsessed with the O.J. Simpson trial, and I just like and love Johnny Cocker, and so I was just like, the glove don't fit, you must acquit. Like, I couldn't say acquit yet, but I just knew, like, I always kind of stood up for people. My brother, he's 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
And I remember him, like, getting not really bullied at school, but somebody, just kind of was unkind, roughed him up. And I was probably like 3, and I'm like, show me him, brother. No, show me him. Yeah, I did.
You're in a little skeptic sister, but
yeah, oh yeah, I was still that way. So I'm like naturally just very protective of people. So yeah, I had like an interesting childhood, like a really good childhood. But you know, everybody's family dynamics. We all have our stumps that we go through, of course. And it just, yeah. So in high school, I did law classes, and we had like mock trials, and I would compete. Yeah, I win, and I was I've never lost a mock trial at school. So I was like, yeah, and it just kind of came really effortless. They didn't really try.
Yeah. So you just always had this intuition. You just always had this interest in that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's been quite a lot of things as well that you've done in your life. And I don't, we know what we're doing now, but I want people to see in the journey, because it really helps people in that when we transition through things, when we have to change things, when we have to change careers, change country. This is huge. But going back as well to the child, Stephanie, and you were obviously embroiled, like we all were, with the O.J. Simpson trial. But was there something that really stood out? Like, what made you so interested in that as a young girl back then?
So I was a quick child. I had an older brother that's 2 years older than me, so I always picked up on things quickly. I was kind of walking at 8 months, trained by 18 months. I was just a fast learner and very busy. My mom had me and my brother in like modeling and acting. I started at 8 months. And then I danced competitively, jazz, tap, ballet, acro, very involved at church, and we swam. So we were just really, really busy kids. So I picked up on things really quickly, and my parents like to call me an old soul, but I think it's just divine wisdom from that. But Johnny Cochran, he was just so cool to me. I don't know what it was. He was just like this cool Black man who could like make you submit with words. He just has to use violence. And we're Jamaican. So we grew up with, spare the rod, spoil the child, our blight style. And I love how he just put people in their place with his words, even from that age.
Yes. You saw that from that era, and that's actually quite incredible. Yeah, I like that from a young age. And so, looking back now, do you think that your early experiences, obviously going through, seeing those things, is it giving you more of a deeper sense of justice? Because obviously you saw these things happening in front of you, on TV and stuff like that. Did that embody into you like more sense of justice? Like, this is what you want to be a part of?
I don't think it was just TV. I think honestly, some of it had to do with life experiences. So, both of my parents, they were raised by their grandparents and family members, either raised by their mother and father. And they came up in a different environment, a different time, So my dad was strict disciplinarian. My mom, she was not into spanking, that she wasn't the disciplinarian. My mom was more like, if you were rude, you wrote an essay. So like when I was like feisty, disrespectful, I would write like a 500-word essay on why she deserved to give me a slap. But that literally, she didn't even ask me to. I would do those TS after a while. If I wanted a cell phone, I had to write 500 words on why I deserve a cell phone. Wow. And then she said no. So I just called my director there and taught it anyway. I didn't even need to ask. I really have to just try to be respectful, but respectfully, let me get my phone. So I did get it, but no, so my dad was the disciplinarian, and he faced a lot of like punishment as a child, and just in a more aggressive manner. And some of those things kind of translated into my upbringing. And I think just feeling like, why can't you just use your words? Yeah. And like my dad, we've had our ups and we've had our downs, but like, I know my dad like loves me, right? But this is just how he was taught certain things and how he shows it. Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like that frustration as a child kind of translated into my adult life. And I've always been the type that like, right is right, wrong is wrong. You could be the pastor, the bishop, the prime minister, the president. If you're wrong, I'm calling you out. And I've never had a problem challenging authority yet or since a child. Like when I would get disciplined, I would need an explanation as to why.
Wow.
Yeah, like at 3, like if you were going to spank me, I needed to know, what did I do? Why are you 8 at 9 to me? Why? It needs to make logical sense.
And I feel we're very illogical. Yeah, still what I'm going, you still are. And you started working professionally like young, by 16, yeah? And then licensed at real estate by 19. Yeah. What drove you to move so quickly and ambitiously at this age? Like money,
Girl, good. I was a little girl. I was on the wrong side of the desk. I'm typing the offers. I'm booking the appointment. You're getting that money. And then I'm dropping these commission checks in the envelopes, and they're getting 2.5% to 3% of the purchase price. I said, y'all paying me how much an hour? Yeah. I'm on the wrong side of the desk.
Absolutely. That's the right mindset to have, though, right? We need to be more bold in our decisions with that.
Also, I was in uni at the time, as you guys call it here. I would say school because, it's just it's uni. Yes, right. And I just wasn't feeling it. I just didn't like it, I'm honest. So that's kind of why I took a pause on law, because I was like, I don't want to be here. But my parents, my mom specifically, she's big on education. Yes, I'm so grateful.
I was just going to ask that. How was like your parents with like your education side of things? And then knowing that you wanted to go into law, was that, they must have been really happy with that?
Yeah, so that was a great answer, because my mom was more strict with education than my dad. Like, he was big on it, but my mom was the enforcer in that area. Yeah, my dad was the enforcer with knowing the Lord, growing up in church, Sunday school, like, you don't play about that, So as it came down to like my education, when I did start uni, I took some time off, and that's when I got my real estate license. And honestly, it was just an excuse, because my mom's like, you're not staying in this house if you're not going to school. I was like, I'm gonna get my real estate license and come. She's a real estate agent. She was like, is she out? Yeah, Justin. So, and she worked at the office that I like. You were a receptionist there. Yeah. So then I was like, I'm just gonna get my license and then establish my business and then go back to school, and I'm gonna finish. And this is the plan. But I don't want to come out of school and have nothing. So let me just do it while it was really an excuse, but the already had worked. But I had a little legal mind from then.
Well, Stephanie's brain was like logically working it. Yeah.
And she my effort, so I did it. And
good. And so you stayed in real estate, but you transitioned in the music industry. And this is like going a completely different direction. What happened with that? Like, so how comes you did that transition into the music industry?
Okay, so it's kind of layered. But initially, it was because when I was kind of getting burnt out of real estate. All right. It's a little bit different setup to here. So we can show anybody's property in any city in the province. Yeah. So I would be driving from city to city to city all day, and I owned my own home by this time. I was probably 25, 26, living on my own. I'm working 12-hour days, 6-7 days a week sometimes. Like, it was really taxing because you're self-employed. So you eat what you kill, they say. So absolutely everything is commission based. And coming home from work, I'm just tired. Like, I have to come cook, clean, shovel snow, mow the lawn. Like, being a single Miss Independent is so nice on Instagram caption, but the reality, I hate really ghetto. Yes, very tragic. That's I need in the road. So yeah, like if I'm team matching, like, no one needs to do that. Yeah, like even just taking out the garbage was just like very ghetto. So that was the thing. So anyway, I had a real estate client who was Tory Lanez. Some of my real estate clients, and like he asked me to help out with some marketing on his sophomore album, Memories Out There.
Yes.
And I was like, me? He's just like my level of efficiency. Yeah. So I figured it out. I started calling up different advertising companies, and then I started sorting out like the billboards for Toronto, Miami, all that kind of stuff. And he was actually probably the first person who like really believed in me. He's like, Steph, just do that, do it. And
how important is that, isn't it, for someone just to believe in you at a moment in your life where, I don't know, you were just in a job, working so many hours, getting your paycheck, not enough, going into the paperwork, but having then someone, you trying something new, but he kind of opened the door and said, you know what, believe in yourself, you're good at this. So then you continued like So I did that. And then there was this festival called Paterson Festival. It happens in Atlanta. And I think October 2018, actually. I started working with Tori in terms of just the marketing. Yes.
Maybe March or January, February of 2018. And then by October, I went to Paterson Festival. A friend of mine took me, and I met so many industry executives there. Loads and loads and loads and loads. Actually, the director of the festival, Yusuf, he's one of my really close friends. And I met him there. And yeah, I was just like, one of my friends, he just used to see gifting in me that I couldn't see in myself. Sometimes there's this sermon I listened to and says I didn't know it was me. So I
yeah, he was like, I was looking for you when you were there talking, and billionaire flies here, and he managed it. He's the record owner for YFM Gucci, and I really wanted you to talk to him. I'm like, where is he? So I'm like, all right, what is he?
Pointing them up. I just found that man in the parking lot, walked up, introduced myself, started speaking to him, told me how I'm getting into the industry. I would love if he had any insight he could share with me. He put me in touch with his assistant, Nia, I think her name was at the time. And I was just moving around that whole weekend. By the end of it, I was friends with like one of the directors for South by Southwest. And then by March that year, I had acts on South by Southwest. Shout out them because I know they're coming to London. Yeah, shout out Carefree Black Girl. They were kind of the people that put one of my artists of the time on. So big ups to them. But yeah, like that networking opportunity was second to none.
Yes.
And I started managing at that point.
Yeah.
And it just went boom. By like maybe February of that year, I was in meetings with people like Barry Wise and saw me look at that in like no time. So that was just all God because he just opened doors that like I didn't even know existed and had me at tables I really wasn't actually qualified to be at.
There. But I think it's so powerful in holding around that and giving advice to people in those moments and in those spaces, because we don't always see it, do we? Yeah, just kind of arrive for us. And when it's ready and it's our time, and we've just got to show up in those moments. And even you talking that you just in the parking lot, you just took your moment. Some people would maybe hold back and go, oh, it's parking lot, it's not an official meeting. But hearing that, I think people sometimes need to make more bolder decisions in things that they want in life, and especially when they get an opportunity. So you're now managing artists. So you've left real estate.
No, I was usually man both. I was both. Yeah, I was doing both because if you know, and you're an artist management, it takes a while unless you're managing a big artist.
Yet
you're not making a lot of money. No. So I needed them commissions still to pay my mortgage. Should seen this commission. Obviously, yeah, I have my day job. So I was still doing both, but thankfully real estate's flexible because you're self-employed. So you guys set your own average your work case. So yeah, I was doing that for a couple of years. Yeah, felt a lot of had a lot of really cool moments, worked with a lot of amazing artists, a lot of really cool industry executives that brought me here to London.
And I was going to ask, so before we jump to the move to London, is there anything from that time that really sticks out? Like maybe an experience that you went through, or something that you're like, oh my God, this was such a entry moment. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Do you know, it was so crazy. So one of the artists that I was working with, there was a co-management setup with Nights. And yeah, so she dropping names up here. I don't know. This is one of my I have so much respect for him. It's and I remember being in the studio, and my ex-boyfriend at the time, well, he wasn't my partner at the time, but my ex, he used to play knives all the time, and that was my first exposure of him in maybe 2017 or something.
Yeah.
And so when I'm in the studio with him, just on a calm one playing, listening to different beats and whatnot.
Yeah.
It was just wild. So I was texting one of my really good friends who's a really big producer, Vaco Mitano, and I was like, this is so wild that I would say it though. And I was over here being called a low-key one of my favorite UK artists that he's become a friend. So yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, even just the meeting with Barry Wise, if you Google him and see who he's worked with, witnessed and stuff, where him since what we were meant to be. Yeah, and that's all God, man. I'm telling you.
And then, I want to hear then how you've moved. Everything sounds like it's going so well. And now you moved to London. What year was?
So I moved here in September 2020.
Okay. And what made that decision? What was that?
Do you know what? Music was, as much as I loved it, still love it. There's a lot that comes with it, especially being a woman in the industry. It's a lot of pivoting that you have to do, especially with men, and just wanting to shoot their shot, even if they don't not even really trying to sports for real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's I have to be just nice enough to get what I need from you, but not completely shut you down so that you say no to me and that I can't get what I need from my artist. Yeah. And it was just I'm tired of dancing like this. And when I make more money selling cribs. So respectfully, I don't need to do this. One.
And then two, just being in Toronto, a lot of rappers in my city specifically were dying. There was so much gun violence, like back to back to back to back. And like, it started to take a toll on me, like just emotionally and mentally. And like, even spiritually, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I need to figure out what I want to do. Do I want to stay in this? And then I remember I met this gentleman, his name's Sandy Law. And Sandy was a lawyer, and he managed Yella BC, and he worked with Ludacris. And, you know, he was on a video shoot that we did. Yella BC was on a record with an artist that I was co-managing at the time. And I just like how Sandy moved, you know, and Sandy was making good money as a lawyer. So I was like, okay, cool. There's something there.
Yeah.
So I wasn't about to give up my real estate career and then do this and then go back to law. It would just be too much at the time. And then COVID happened. Right. COVID. So everybody else got to sit down, but me, as a realtor, I was an essential worker.
Yeah.
So everybody was looking to move and get a house, and like everybody got chill except me, child. Oh, yeah, easy. I think I was at a busy sonnet. Yeah. So,
I mean, we forget about that, don't we? We forget, obviously, sometimes, the essential workers that were needed during this
was tight. Yeah. And I wasn't even a nurse, but I was tired. Yeah. So, shout out the nurse and the doctors and a couple of because they did their day for us. So, yeah, that happened. And then George Floyd.
Yes.
And Breonna Taylor, they were kind of like back to back. And so the crazy thing is, till this day, I've never watched the full George Floyd video. Like,
You couldn't?
no, I couldn't. I heard it playing. I saw a portion of it, and then I heard it. And like something in my spirit felt like it cracked, like it just broke. Like it physically broke me. And, you know, I was like everybody else. I was on Twitter, and from the Twitter warrior, I was doing the blackout calls. I was using my voice online. And then when I would see like the protesting, and even here in the UK and just globally, I was like, this movement is so massive. I've never seen something have so much of an impact. And it just really felt like a call to action, because I knew that I have a voice, and I know that I know how to use it and utilize it well. And seeing people that looked like me and people from different backgrounds stand up for somebody else on another continent that they don't even know, and then to see sometimes them being brutalized or not being aware of their rights or unable to articulate themselves and just letting frustration and violence lead them, I just felt so moved to do something, you know? And then I just made a bet. I was even just being funny with my mom. Just like, she always wanted me to go back to school. And I was like, yeah, girl, I'm gonna go. Don't worry about it. I'm making too much money right now. Like, chill out. I'm gonna go when it makes sense. And she made a bet with me. I can't remember the bet, but I was like, all right, if you do this, that I'll go to law school. If I get in, I'm gonna go. But if you do this, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
She didn't do her part.
I'm loving the negotiations as well that you've got. Yeah.
So I applied. I ended up getting accepted into all the schools that I applied for within like a week or two. And then by July, I came here and I spent a week looking for places. I found one after a week on day 5, signed the lease agreement, went back home. And then by September, I was here. Yeah, I sold my house, sold my car, just packed everything up. And I was just like, I didn't even really think about it. Why? I didn't even plan for it. Okay. I just was like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm gonna go.
Because just sometimes you think we can overthink and plan stuff too much to the point that we we just stay procrastinated in. Right?
That's me. I'm so indecisive.
Okay, I think well, during that just leap of faith, just underneath it. Yeah. Sold the house up.
Honestly, and God has like,
And you've not looked back.
no, God just had his hand on my journey, like every single step of the way. It's every single step.
So tell us now, we're in London town. Yeah. Stephanie is in London town. She's here. What is happening with Stephanie now? So you moved to London. You start doing, you're studying your tell us about what this law degree, like because how long does it actually, if there's somebody out there that's even listening to the podcast, or we've got, a young person, because I don't even know where to start. They might have any support. What do you do?
Okay, so it depends. So if you're just starting from scratch, which is what I decided to do, I did my LLB, and that was a 3-year program.
Okay.
And the interesting part was I did it during COVID, so it was lockdown. So we moved from being in class to being at home in the house all day. So that was another interesting transition. From being super busy in Canada, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, to just doing almost nothing but studying all day, every day.
That takes a different life.
That I shouldn't even prepare for. Because, like I said, blood, I was just like, I'm doing it. Be that. So, first 3 years, I did my LLB.
Mm-hmm.
And then it depends what route you want to go. So if you want to be a solicitor or you want to be a barrister. I knew I wanted to be in court. So barrister was just the only choice for me, respectfully. I like to explain it like a solicitor is kind of like your family doctor. And a barrister is kind of like the specialist, like the surgeon. So if they do the surgery in court, etc., and the solicitor kind of does all the prep. All the, runs all the testing, gets all that kind of stuff.
So a lot of way to break it down. I never meant it like that. That's actually a good way to understand it, actually. Yeah. Because it can sound so daunting, like solicitor, barrister. Yeah. But how do you break it down is amazing. So then you're still studying. So tell us.
So after I finished my LLB, I got my law degree. And then if you do the SRA, I believe it is, to become a solicitor, that's one. I did the bar course coupled with my master's.
Yeah.
So that was another program I did for a year. And then I got called to the bar in July of 2024. So just under a year ago. Yeah. We're in the next year.
Thank you. So how did that feel for you? I mean, explain it as well. I mean, explain to people called to the bar. Like, tell us what that means.
So that means, in America, you pass your bar exams.
Yeah.
Here, you get a call to the bar. You'd have to join an inn of court. And once you join an inn of court, that's when you get your call. So you have multiple courses that you do, different classes, whether it's drafting, criminal law, civil law. You're learning loads of different areas of law in a very short space of time. So it's quite rigorous. It's quite stressful. There was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of tears. Like, the textbooks are literal encyclopedias, and they get updated quite frequently. So it was a lot. I just was like kicking myself, like, and I'm getting my master's and I have to write a dissertation. Why? Who told me? Who told? And I say I'm smart. This was not smart. So the God, all right, yeah, girl, because he's the only reason like I flew, because I did not do that by my own. That was not me. That was all him. But yes, trust me. Do you know how many nights I cried myself to sleep? I would have friends come stay. I would do all-nighters. They would stay with me. Like, for my criminal law exam, I literally studied 23 hours straight, nonstop, just on Red Bull. They say, like, you can't do the course over in a short period of time. I redid civil and criminal law in 3 weeks and just went through all of the readings. I threw all the notes again because I needed that refresher. I really didn't want to Red Bull. Thank you. You know what? I have I do got ADHD. So it's like when I lock into something, it's just I have tunnel vision, but I can procrastinate and leave things to the end, like till 11:59. Thankfully, I'm with my mother and I'm a closer. I come through clutch in the fourth quarter stuff. That's my time to shine. So,
So how has been, obviously, your American perspective of value, and then presented any challenges with our UK system?
No, because Canada, we are part of the Commonwealth. Yeah. So our legal system mirrors your legal system. Most of the precedent actually does come from here. Yeah. And culturally, we're very, very similar. Okay. People always like to say Drake talks like you guys, but actually, no, it's just Toronto. There's a heavy Jamaican influence, both countries. Yes. So it's so similar, like the lingo even. The only thing that's different is just the accent. Yes. Right? Yes. So that was the major. But if you come to Toronto, I can point out where like North Londonese. I could tell you where like Lewisham is. I could tell you where Chelsea. Yeah, I could like look at that, give you a reverse of the two places that on London almost near each other. It's really similar. I would say just sound more similar to American, like just in access, right? Because in proximity and just certain cultural code differences. But
Awesome. And so you're known also for bringing like both strength and compassion now to your work. How do you balance that emotional pressure with your legal professionalism now?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. It was actually probably one of my biggest concerns. you know, as Caribbean people, we tend to speak with our face a lot. So I react before I like even process it. No, I'm so bad. I've had moments, you know, where like somebody will say something so wild and I'll be like, oh, yeah. You know, like I'll get it together real quick. But
I said, oh, sweetheart, if you're going to be embarrassed in court, like that's something.
yeah, that one is, because people do and say crazy things. Like I've said in a case where a man literally tried to jump out the window with family court. So it didn't go in his favor. Yeah, I've seen clients throw themselves to the floor, and like I've seen barristers have to get into little yoga positions to calm it down. Like, it's a lot. It's your life, you know? Like, especially when it's family courts, it's your children, it's your finance. Dealing with some serious journalizing sets, mental health apps, domestic violence is. So I'm actually also an accredited mediator, and that helped a lot too. It's just like, okay, I heard what the parents did. I've heard what's happened. Okay, where's the child now? What needs to happen? Have these assessments been done? Can we set up visitation? Just whatever.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't care about the backstory. Naturally, the backstory is important. So what's important to me is that child, because children are innocent, right? And they need somebody to protect them. Adults, we can advocate for ourselves, some of us. And sometimes we do need assistance. A lot of times we do. But kids, they can't process certain things.
No, that's wrong.
Their brain will compartmentalize. It will shut down. You will see different things in how they react and respond. And for me, you know, there were moments in my childhood where I did that. I compartmentalized certain traumas because I didn't know how to process them.
Yes.
So when I see a child in need, it's just this mother bear inside of me that just wants to like show up, protect you, make sure you're okay. Whether it's a man or a woman, I advocate a lot for like paternal rights. There's just a lot of, that goes on. And yeah, a lot of unfairness, and it's on both sides. And there's women who, victims of domestic violence, and men are victims of domestic violence as well. Sometimes we as humans, we judge so much that we don't understand, and we don't learn how to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. So for me, I don't usually have one view on anything. I have this is their version of events, that's the other person's version of events, and I hold space for the in-between.
Okay.
And I try to see both perspectives, and I'm never too entrenched in a position. So because I use my logical brain before my emotions kick in, I can respond with empathy, because I'm human and I care, and I can really put myself in a position, but I also think about what's best. I approach things with a solutions-based mindset. I don't look to win.
Yeah.
That's not my goal. I don't need to win. I'm okay. My life is cool when I leave here. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if God put me in a position to advocate, and I'm a Christian and a strong believer, and Christ was the chief advocate and a mediator, I feel like it's a calling to represent him well. So I would say
thank you. Yeah. So and even doing it in the space that you're doing it, because I'm sure that you must have come across cases that, can get really emotional and will probably personal. So knowing that that's how you can deal with it and look at it very in different views and the logical, that's very helpful to the victims.
Yeah.
So have you had, we can't, for confidential reasons, has there been like a case or a scenario, something that, or you researched or you've been part of that you thought, this was really heavy for me to deal with, and I've now got to work on myself to kind of get through this case? Because I can just imagine sometimes you must, as a barrister, I can only imagine, you must hear and be part of some of the most emotional, sensitive, traumatic deals, and how can you not take it on personally,
Right. So actually, we're going to go into intellectual property, because I'm like, that's where the money's at. I'm trying to be in tech, and then God's like, and I'm a non-practicing barrister, and I'll explain that. Once you've been called to the bar, you have to do something called pupillage. So that is where you are trained by a chambers for a year before you have the authority to argue in court. So that's the final step of the journey. So in an interim, you do what's called mini cupilages. So you sit in with other barristers, you learn from them, you watch the case, you get the case notes, you get the files, you get access to more things. You sit in and you hear and you listen. So that's the setting up operated at this point in my career. And yeah, you know what? I thought because of how much of an empath I am, like I was be on the train sometimes and I can literally feel what somebody's going through. And you'll just see me cry, like wailing and out of nowhere. So I was really surprised that when I started my mini pupilages and I got to court and I was hearing crazy stories like, you know, parents doing wild things to children. Wild that like shook me to my core. I won't lie to you. But funny enough, I didn't break down about it. It was just like, how do I protect this child? What needs to happen? It's just like, you just switch into action, you know, because me crying about it, and yes, I'm going to have emotions towards it, but that child is going to stay in this position unless somebody acts.
Yes.
So it's just really easy to put myself second and prioritize the other person's needs.
Yeah.
And it just comes naturally.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been anything, and I've heard loads and loads and loads of like really sad horror stories. But I think because of my religion, like, I mean, I don't meant to say I'm religious, but my relationship with God,
Yes.
I actually just leave it with him. Yeah, like I will pray about it and just kind of release it.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do anything on my own, right? I have no control. I can't go into people's homes and stop things. So I do what I'm capable of doing. And then I stand in the gap for other people through prayer. And then I just leave it at that. But I don't take my beliefs into the courtroom in terms of pushing it on people. I don't do that. Okay. It's going to show up just in how I treat how you treat others. It'll be through an experience with me instead of me saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, or you should pray. I don't, not in the courtroom. I also work, I'm a youth leader at my church. Yeah. Stephanie, there's so much to you. And I work now at the Geek Club. There's all ocean. So
Tell us a little bit about that. That must be
sort of shout out to the Tav London and Lewisham. I love my church. My church made London home for me. When I thank God that he brought me there. It's such a crazy I randomly went to this girl one day to get my hair done. I'll be quick on this story. To get my hair done, to get it colored, and I haven't done it in like, I used to go home and do it every year, and then I just like, my birthday's coming up, I need to, so I found Colored by Ella. I love the shots. You know, it's the pool is real. Wow, some amazing friends and family. Everybody here has become family to me. So I love them. Like, they're such good people. Good. So I went to her and she was doing my hair, and it's funny because, you know, I respect everybody's belief system. I respect your right to believe whatever you want to believe.
Yeah.
But I have like boundaries, personal boundaries, like spiritually for myself. So I need to. So she had just like some crystals on her hand, and he was like, sorry, babe, do you mind just taking those off when you wash my hair? Because just for me, spiritually, like, I'm very sensitive, and I respect your right, but do you mind? Well, you do my hair. And that sparked a conversation, and we got really deep emotionally, and like, yeah, we just opened up to each other. Like, we've known each other our whole lives. It became like therapy. And then the second time around, I went back, after that conversation, it kind of went the same way. And then, you know, she reached out a week later and told me she wanted to get baptized based on the back of our conversation. And I was like, oh my God, you're so good. Thank you.
Yes.
And she was inviting me to it. She told me about the church that she was trying to get baptized at. And me, I'm just let me just check it out. Who knows? Yeah, throw it all over there. Yeah. Because I'd been to a few here. I hadn't found one online. I hadn't found one in person yet. And so I ended up going there Good Friday of 2023, and I've never left. I'm like, it was, as soon as I got there, it was home. That was it. Shout out my Asper. He's amazing, Pastor Mike. Yeah, shout out every late chat. But that was just nice. That's home. That's home. I can leave London. I can't leave my church. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I can't. So I became a youth leader this year.
How inspiring you're going to be for some of the young people as well. Just even, you know,
in who you are as a person, your presence, your beautiful soul, what you've been through. You know, I think that's really, really empowering. So thank you. What does it also mean being in Africa for the vulnerable? Because I know we spoke about this a little bit in the kind of intro, but this means a lot to you, doesn't it? Like your own access and day-to-day terms.
100%. Yeah, I've been in that position in my life. You know, I think we've all been vulnerable at a certain point in our lives. And I share my experiences and my testimony when I see a need. I have no problem showing my wounds because I know other people get healing from your wounds. So there's loads of life experiences that you would look at me and never, ever expect me to have. A lot of really tough traumas that I've had to overcome. And it just makes me care more because I've been there. And because people don't, there's things that have happened to me that I never shared because I was me. Because everybody sees me as this very confident, strong woman. So to show you that, like, actually, no, somebody's violated me and people have hurt me and disrespected me in ways that I wouldn't even want anyone to know about. When I hear it back, it's like, I've been there, I get it. And I share those moves so you can know, like, look, it doesn't have to define you and it doesn't break you. It just adds to your greatness. It adds to my gifting. It makes me more relatable, believable, and more impact. So for me, I don't mind showing my wounds, don't mind showing my scars. I think they're so beautiful. I used to hate being vulnerable. It was like kryptonite to Superman. But yeah, God showed me it's my superpower, and that He, you know, gets the glory out of it when you share your testimony. So yeah, I advocate for people differently because I've lived through it.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think of, like, for me, I told you, like, my relationship with God is everything. I just think about Christ, and there's literally nothing He didn't go through in, like, human form so that we didn't go through, though you don't, whether it's betrayal, whether it's abuse, whether it's loss, whether it's trauma.
Yeah.
Like, all of the things we go through in our natural life, He went through His ready. So it's kind of like I can relate to people, and it makes me just want to love on them and protect them more and just fight for them because life's hard, man.
It is hard. And I think when you can relate, it just makes other people's healing journey, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And a little bit easy.
It does.
Because there's relatability. There's like somebody is kind of understanding maybe what I am feeling or going through.
Yeah.
So that's really lovely that you're able to share, because a lot of times we hold a lot of things in and you see the vulnerability as something that, like you say, I don't want to show that because nobody knows Stephanie who I'm one. What impact do you hope to leave? So not just in the courtroom, but in the lives of those that you're either going to come to represent or do represent.
Legacy is important to me. I volunteered, sorry, it's a lot. I volunteered in South Africa back in 2012. I can't keep up with stuff, right? It's a lot, I know. I forget sometimes things I've done, and something will trigger the memory. So I worked at the Children's Hospital and Orphanage called Fox Children's Hospital, and it is in Athlone, South Africa, in Cape Town. Yeah. And we did things with, like, Habitat for Humanity, and you ran HIV and AIDS clinics and things like that. And Sarah Fox had such an impact on me at that time because these were children who were abandoned, babies. So there was probably 3 to 4 nurses on a ward with maybe 30, 40 babies, ages 0 to 2. And these kids don't even get a hug every day, you know? And I, like, just, yeah, I don't even want to get emotional. No, that's so much. Like, there was one baby specifically that they used to get so mad that when I would hold her so much, because that night she'd just cry the whole night. And just to see how much of an impact just holding them for a few minutes and reading to them made, like, everything for them, and, like, the things that we take for granted, it changed a lot for me. So I've always, like, my goal in life is to always leave people better than how I found them. So whether I come into your life for a season, whether it's for mediation, whether it's to represent you in court, whether you're coming into the youth club as an 11 to 17-year-old, or whether you're coming into young adults night at church, whatever it is, whatever I do, I try to make sure I spend a lot of time with God in prayer, because I need my cup to be full, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So my legacy in life is always, I just want my name to be one that's remembered for making people a better version of themselves and like leaving them in a better position. So that's important to me.
That's so beautiful to hear. I just wish there were more people like you. But hopefully you're going to inspire many others to think and feel like you. And there's that thing, isn't it? It's about how people make you feel. Yeah. It's not always what they say, it's not always what they do, but how they make you feel. Yeah. So that's really lovely. And what advice would you give to someone right now sitting on the edge, maybe a bold life change and afraid to leap? Because you've made some bold decisions. What advice would you give anyone out there?
Firstly, I'd say pray about it. That's major key for me specifically. I need to have a feeling like there's like a calmness when I know I'm supposed to do something.
Yes.
So I would say pray about it, because you'll get the answer. You know, it's crazy how quickly it happens too sometimes. One would be pray about it. And two, don't tell too many people. Because people can be dream killers. And sometimes people can't kill what they don't know about. So Proverbs says there's safety in a multitude of wise counsel. So have wise counsel around you, people you know that you trust. Stop asking your friends for advice that don't live the life you're trying to live. If you are single and you want a husband, stop listening to single women's podcasts, boo. Listen to people that you want to be like, somebody who has walked the journey that you have walked. To look for those people, seek counsel from them.
Yes.
Because they're the ones who are going to get you towards the path that you're trying to be on, right? So God and wise counsel, those are the two things. And then just, that's okay. When you know, just pull the trigger, bet on yourself. Nobody else will. And there's only ever going to be one you in the sled. So yeah, go for it.
And Stephanie, what's next for you? What's happening for Stephanie? What's next? Tell us about where you're at. I want to hear what's next for you.
So right now, it's crazy. We're talking about transitions. I think I'm passing one right now. Yeah, I'm literally in a wilderness season where it's like I've been so busy. I just graduated with my master's in January.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I am looking for just employment here, because I still do real estate back in Canada. I'm still running all that. But now I'm trying to find a job in the interim until I start pupillage, which is the in-court training. And that's extremely competitive. There's only less than 200 positions available every year, and there's thousands of applicants, right? And you have 5 years to get pupillage once you pass the bar. So that's really, really competitive. So, and it's so interesting because, as I said, things have always kind of come really quick for me, from real estate to music to everything. And this is the first time in my life where it just hasn't come quick. And I'm like, God, what is happening? What is going on? And it's funny because when I've heard about it, he's like, you're not working, but I'm working on you.
Yes.
And he's taught me how to handle rejection.
You got to be ready for this next track.
Yeah, for the next season where I'm going, it requires more from you. So I need to have you on that threshing floor. I need to put you through the fire. I need to make sure I could trust you. So I want to take you next.
Yes.
And I realized, because our people's like destinies, they're linked. We're all linked to it. Yeah, we all are, right? So yeah, he's been having me in this wilderness season, and I won't lie, my human moments is challenging. But then there's these moments where there's so much clarity and peace about what he's doing, because the way that he provides, the way he creates opportunities, the way he just opens doors.
And it's we've got a community out here. We've got a network. Anybody that out there is listening is hearing you today, has an opportunity, has a network, has a connection. You connect to Stephanie. This is what we're here for. So I really hope that, I know that. What's coming is it's coming. When I time is right, it's coming. And as you know, Stephanie, we do all have a live audience. So we do always like to ask, because they always have a couple of questions. Are you open to receiving it? Absolutely, absolutely. If we could just find out if there's a question for the amazing Stephanie.
Why did you decide to disregard intellectual property?
You know what? Funny enough, I still plan on doing it outside of court. You're not really in court very often with IP. So that was one of the things. And then two, once I did my first family law mini pupillage, I knew that this is where I was supposed to be. I knew that I was uniquely suited for it, from my life experiences to my passions. I just knew that that was for me. And I'm not a money-driven person. So if I did it for the money, it would only last me for so long before I was over it again. Otherwise, I would have stayed for real estate.
Perfect.
That was the main reason.
Because I'm mindful of time, but I just wanted to say, listening in, so impactful, so just ordained. Your journey is just so inspiring. And I feel as though going into the family law court is where you're destined to be. And you'll go through quiet season now because there's going to be a lot of rejections and things that you can't change. But here you are playing your position for the kingdom. So just thank you so much, Jazz.
Fair. And before we kind of wrap up with you, we love to ask all our guests, because you are at the nukes, what's your favorite F word?
Faithfulness.
So we want to thank Stephanie for joining us on the sofa today. We also want to thank all of you, as always, for your continued support with this, your liking, your sharing. Please continue to support us at F the News. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Femme Fatale TV, so that we can continue to bring these incredible guests week after week. I've been your host, Liyanne Marie. I'm now going to hand you over to our hologram host, who is in the news vault with our guest this week. Over to Michelle. Thank you, guys. Bye.
And this week, stepping into the news vault is Lottie Jade performing her track Love.
You just need love. That's all you need. Yes. You just need love. That's all you need. I won't give up. Trust me, believe it. And when you're hurt, I'll be your shield. When you feel down, I'll help you heal. You just need love. Yeah, 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 yeah. Tell me what you want, tell me what you need, baby. I got openings, tell me how you feel, baby. Don't be closed up, open up inside for me. These words won't be shared at all, baby, trust me. You'll be alright, our souls combined. Energy lifted, vibrations high. Making love, taking your stress away. Feelings grow every day. Deeper and deeper, you're taking my breath away. Love, that's all you need. I won't give up. Trust me, believe it. And when you're hurt, I'll be your shield. When you feel down, I'll help you heal. You just need love. Yeah, 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 yeah. Is it alright if I stay? Don't ever want you to come push me away. Is it alright if I try to help you break down these walls you built so high? I see so much in you that you don't